Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, I went ahead and I opened up my own company. So the title of the company is, as you probably already know, Shooting LLC, kind of a play on my YouTube name and a little bit more professional sounding in general. So what I sell right now and what my company makes, which is literally just me, is those targets that you see behind me. These are AR500 steel targets. Now, I went out because I'm someone who uses a lot of different steel plates and I try and buy them for as cheap as possible. So I went around and I looked and saw, how they're made, that sort of thing, and what sort of prices you can actually make them for. Something that I didn't want to do with my company was I didn't want to go out and just make the cheapest plate possible. What I wanted to do was make the highest quality plate possible for the lowest possible price. So basically what we have is American-made AR500 steel that is CNC plasma cut and then finished and painted right here in my garage. So these are all AR500, true to spec AR500 made here in the US of A. They are all a very similar design. So what we have is two different sizes that we're starting out with. So we have 8x12, which is our 50% torso target that you see behind me. And the big one that you see in the middle there, that one there is 11.5x18. That is our 2/3 target. So that one there is a much more representative full-size target, almost not quite full size, but a little bit under that. Now, both of these sizes that we currently make, they are 3/8 inch thick plates, which is perfectly fine for AR500. One thing that you'll see in a lot of other budget plates is when you get into the larger plates, they tend to make them a lot thicker and a lot heavier, generally speaking because they're made of lower quality material. The material that we're using is true AR500, so they're all 3/8 inch thick, like I mentioned, and they're all cut out of the exact same plate and the exact same heat lot. So the big targets, the small targets are all the exact same quality, the exact same material. Now, as you can tell, the targets behind me are a little messed up, and that's because I spent the better part of 2 cases today testing them with various ammunition loads, everything from 9mm in handguns to subguns to short guns to long guns, and including M855 armor penetrating ammunition to see how it fared up against the plates. And as you can see, they are marked and scarred, as you would imagine, after hundreds and hundreds of rounds, but they are none the worse the wear. So right here is one of our raw, unpainted, unfinished plates. So what we have here, this is the 8x12 like I mentioned. All of our plates have a 3/4 inch mounting hole, which is fairly standard, so it'll literally mount up to just about anything. You can use hooks, you can use bolts, you can use whatever you want it to. I'm somebody who, I make my own stand, so I don't have to pay 40, 50 bucks for a stand, or sometimes hundreds of dollars for a stand, and you can buy 2x4s for a couple bucks a piece, so you can make stands for about 8 bucks. So for me, I like to go as cheap as possible on my stands, and so I like something that's very universal and very easy to use. So as I mentioned, 8x12, 3/8 inch thick, very high quality AR500. This one here is kind of unfinished right now. Need to clean it up a little bit and then paint it. Something very important on all the plates that we make is that they are all deburred and finished properly. So what we have here is all 4 corners are rounded quite nicely with a really nice radius on them, and then all of the edges are deburred so that you don't cut yourself on them when you take them out of the packaging. Now, talking about packaging and shipping, we as a company are going to be using flat rate shipping, and so we are only going to charge flat rate shipping for our orders. So that means if you order 1 plate or you order 5 plates, you're going to pay the exact same amount in shipping, and we're not going to be charging you extra for shipping since we're just using that 1 flat rate fee. Now, that being said, if you order more than $200 worth of plates, which is going to be about 5 to 6 plates depending on what you're buying, that is going to ship for free. So we are going to ship that out for free if you order more than $200, which for a good range setup, that's pretty standard. Speaking of pricing, ours is set up very, very simply. So our smaller plates, our 8x12s, which are still a pretty decent sized plate, those are going for $35, while our larger 11.5x18, our more long distance or speed shooting plates, those are going to be going for $70. So now let's go ahead and compare our plates to some other competitors in the exact same price. So these plates are going for $35. These are fairly large targets. These are Caldwell 10-inch steel targets, which are actually have a little bit smaller of a surface area than our 8x12 targets, and the design is somewhat poorer. So these are both AR500. I have shot these plates. These are my personal plates that I've owned for a long time. I've shot this plate probably several thousand times at this point, but something that you'll notice is that the ears are starting to crack. And so this is an area where I've actually had 2 of these plates break on me because the mounting points are very, very weak. One, they're cut in a square, which is weaker than a circle, and there are also just not a lot of meat around there protecting it. So these ears are a weak point, and even though the plate's fine, eventually you're gonna have to find a different mounting solution or punch your own hole through it, just because these ears tend to break off fairly quickly for a steel plate. Now, over on ours, we have about 3 times the amount of material actually keeping that mounting point secure, and it's a little bit larger and it's in a circular shape, so it doesn't get the same amount of stress fractures that a square does. Whereas square, the pressure starts to really build up in the edges where you can see crack, crack, and crack in this side. So this plate's almost dead, and this plate's also on its way out right now. Another competitor plate is this guy right here, where it actually has 3 mounting surfaces. This one here again is kind of a 10-inch half circle. So this one and this one have fairly similar surface area. This one here actually does have more surface area. Same 3/4 inch holes, but as you'll notice, ours has about double the material around it holding it in place. So while these ones here have started to develop some cracks, these are going to last much longer than the Caldwell ones will, but not quite as long as ours will, because ours uses the simplest, strongest mounting solution with the most material, the most meat protecting it, versus some of these guys, which will eventually crack. And we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds. So this is not something that'll happen in a short-term period, but if you're buying a plate, you want it to last, and you don't want to keep buying them over and over again every few years. So now let's go ahead and talk about the big plate. So this is a competitor plate, and this is my plate. So these are both fairly similar size. This one here, 11.5 by 18. This one here is 12 by 20. Now, even though this one here is slightly larger, it actually has a lot of material cutouts on here, so this one here actually has more surface area. Now, this is one of those plates, like I mentioned earlier, where the company decided to go with AR450 versus AR500. And this plate, as you can see, has some really huge scoring marks on it. So even though this has a lot of material on here, they have a lot of really deep scoring because the material is actually a lower quality. Now, this plate has actually been shot with the 62 grain M855, the light armor piercing ammunition. So this one here has some scarring marks as well that are not deep, but they're definitely noticeable on top, whereas this plate has not. So this is just normal 5.56, normal 308, and this is 5.56, 308, everything else I could throw at it, plus some of the 62 grain M855. So in terms of durability, even though this is a very thick plate, these are both going to have very similar durability, because this is, of course, this is a 2/3 inch thick. So this is almost twice as thick as this plate. Speaking about that, this plate weighs right at 20 pounds, like 21 pounds, and this plate weighs about 35 pounds. So what that means is that at long range, this plate is going to move a very, very little amount, whereas this plate will swing back and forth because, of course, there's less weight, so more of that energy gets transferred into motion. Now, another issue that I have with this plate is this is 35 pounds, this is 20 pounds, this has more surface area, it's a higher quality plate. This is actually going to be much easier to set up, especially if you have to walk your own plates in, which, depending on where you're shooting at, if you're just shooting at a normal shooting spot or shooting at a range, sometimes you have to set up your own plates. And I would much rather have to lug a few of these guys in that fill a very nice, obviously rectangular shape. These are about 20 pounds versus 35 pounds. So to kind of bring it all back together here at the end, what we're trying to do is bring you guys the highest quality plates that we possibly can for the best possible price. So we're using the best quality materials, very simple plate designs, because again, these are, at the end of the day, they are training tools. So our 8x12s are very good for up close work, because again, they're a reduced size target, so it makes them more difficult than some of your full size targets. You can use them anywhere from, depending on what round, from say 5 yards to 200, 300 yards for a little bit more difficult of a shot. And our bigger targets are 11.5 by 18s. Those are great for long range. They have good movement on them because they're still fairly lightweight. So even if you're shooting with 5.56 or lower powered calibers at long range, you're still going to see some movement in the plates. They are also extremely loud. Those things are loud. In terms of pricing, we were able to pretty much beat or meet any other pricing that we could find on the market in terms of really high quality AR500 plates, which I was really happy that we were able to do, because again, at the end of the day, most of us don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to drop on our own personal ranges or just plates that we carry around. So, you know, for a few $100, you can get a lot of really high quality plates that we're selling. Now, something that I do want to mention in terms of warranty, we don't really warranty the plates themselves because again, they are a wear component. So if you shoot them 50,000, 100,000 times, they are eventually just going to degrade to the point where they break or crack or something like that. But if you have a plate that has a material defect in it, we will absolutely replace that for you free of charge with free shipping. So basically what that means is if you receive a plate and you shoot it a few hundred times and you start getting cracks, or you have it cracked from the start, we will take and replace that plate for you. Now, every single plate that goes out is hand checked by me, so there should not be any plates that go out that have any sort of cracks or any sort of non-cosmetic damage to them. So that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching the video, and again, if this is something that interests you, you can check it out. Our website is in the link in the description, and it will be in the description of all of my videos going forward. One little thing that I did want to add before we end the video is that there is going to be a second delivery option for those of you that live in the Southwest Washington area, or if you're passing by and you want to pick up your plates in person. That is an option that's going to be on the website, and we will set up a time and a place to meet up, and you can get your plates for free. That's a free option for those of you who live not nearby, and you will meet me in person and we can chat about cheap firearms and budget options. So like I said, that's pretty much it for the video, guys, though. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Of course, anything that you guys plate related that you guys want to ask, leave it in the comments, send me an email. I will respond to all of those. So like I said, thank you guys once again for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace off.